Welcome to another Apollo Papyrus podcast episode. I am Aaron Apollo Camp. For this episode, my interview guest is an artificial intelligence thought leader, podcast host, and the author of a pair of instructional nonfiction books, Network Security with pfSense and Learn Apache Mesos. His name is Manuj Aggarwal, and my interview with Manuj will follow the teleportation sound. Manuj Aggarwal, welcome to the Apollo Papyrus podcast.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
How did you go from earning $2 per day as a factory worker to being a board member of Fortune 500 companies?
Well, first of all, I want to clarify, I'm not a board member of Fortune 500 companies, but I'm in the boardrooms talking to the board members of Fortune 500 companies. And the way it happened was, I wish I could say there was a plan, but basically, I found my passion for technology early. And I got into software, technology, computers, and I just loved it and continued to develop my passion, continue to develop my skill, and continue to look for new opportunities, new technologies. And, I got into AI early on, like a lot of people are catching up. But I started working with AI back in 2005. I have 4 patents in AI now. My desire has been always to help others using technology. And so all those things started to compound in a way that I did not even expect it. But I basically just continue to follow my passion.
You've written a couple of books, but before I actually ask you about the books you've written, I want to help our listeners better understand the two books you've written. So what are pfSense and Apache Mesos?
Yeah, so those are very heavy engineering terms from the software world. And the books are not, I will say, meant for common consumption. They are for more hardcore technology people. pfSense is for cybersecurity. In fact, pfSense is a free open firewall. Firewall is basically a technical term for protection for your network. You may have heard a lot of people get hacked. A lot of people have issues where their private information is stolen and whatnot, and most people don't know how to protect themselves from that. And pfSense is a very, very, very solid product. It's absolutely free that can protect your business, your home. So it's a very good resource for securing your network, your computers. And I wrote a book on that. And the other one is Apache Mesos is for building a global scalable company. So let's say, you are launching a big company, a SaaS product, a software product, and you want to get thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of users on your platform. So how do you do that? Apache Mesos is a way that can enable your company to have that kind of scalability.
Without spoiling too much about your books, Network Security with pfSense and Learn Apache Mesos, what are each of your books about?
Yeah, as I said, it's all about how to secure your network. Let's say you are running a small business. Every business is now a technology business because without the knowledge of technology, having few computers, internet, no business can survive. And now with AI and a lot of other technologies moving at a pace that it is very, very difficult to keep track of, it's very important for people to understand the technology. They don't need to become like engineers themselves. Just like when we drive the car, we don't need to become a very informed mechanic who can repair the car, but we need to know the basics. Okay, this is where the gas goes. This is how I press the gas pedal. This is how I brake. So the books are designed to give you that kind of information, even though they are fairly technical, and you'll be able to do quite a bit on your own after reading the books.
Both of your books were published by a company called Pact. That's spelled P-A-C-K-T, if I recall correctly.
That's right. That's right.
What was it like to work with Pact to get your books published?
Yeah, it was amazing. Basically, what they do is it's a technology education company. So they publish a whole bunch of courses, video courses, books. So what happened was they came to me looking for these specific topics, expertise in these specific topics, because these topics were in demand. And these are not topics that a lot of people understand or know about. So we created some video courses on these topics, pfSense and Mesos. And then we also created the books to go along with the video courses. So it was nice to produce, a lot of different type of material on the same topic and share it with the world.
How long did it take you to write each of your books?
I think it was about like less than 30 days for each one of them. So 30 days each, yeah.
Now, you say less than 30 days. Now, how many pages are each of your books in length? So this will give people a general idea of how quickly you were able to write the books.
Yeah, I think they are like 300 pages each, 300, 400 pages each. I mean, it again, as I said, sorry, I actually checked. One is 152 pages, and another one, it should be around same length actually. And it's more like a user manual, if you will. The other one is 250 pages. And yeah, I mean, since it's all related to technology, it's step-by-step process. Okay, click here, click there. And I have done this so many times. It was easy for me to just like sort of reiterate in a common, like layman's language to explain it. This is what's happening. This is why you do it. This is the outcome. So yeah, I mean, it took me about 30 days to do that.
What are the easiest and hardest parts of writing nonfiction books for you?
I think the easiest part is if you are using your own experience and knowledge, then it comes easy because you are just talking about your life, like how you did this, how you did that, and what was the outcome and everything. So it's very easy from that angle. But the most difficult part is to make it relatable to other people, because you may be an expert in one area of business or technology or what have you, but so that comes easy to you. But the readers may or may not be even familiar with that topic, right? So how do you make it relatable? How do you make them understand your way of doing things? How do you make them retain that knowledge? All of that, yeah.
Do you plan on or are you considering writing more books? And if so, what are some ideas you have in mind for books that you will or may write?
Well, I have a few podcasts like yourself. One is called Bootstrapping Your Dreams. Another one I started with the CTO, current CTO of IBM. It is about AI and cybersecurity. So one of the first products or projects that I want to undertake is take the best interviews from these podcasts and publish it as a book. And after that, I want to write something about how AI is going to change the world. It is already changing the world, but AI is going at a speed where if I start writing a book today, in 30 days, whatever I have written is going to be outdated. So I'm waiting for the right opportunity, but lots happening. But most of everything that I talk about is related to technology, business, and how humans are going to evolve and human life is going to change.
As you mentioned in your response to my previous question, you host a couple of podcasts, and one of them is called the Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show.
That's right. That's right.
What can listeners expect from a typical episode of each of your podcasts?
See, that podcast is all about success, no matter what your circumstances are. what resources you have. I've had like amazing guests from like some Fortune 500 executives, Hollywood celebrities, Bollywood celebrities, and even the former director of the CIA. And so we talk about their journey. How did they go from a regular person to impacting the world, and what challenges did they overcome? How did they learn from their mentors? And we also talk a lot about technology, like how did technology play a role in your journey? And the idea is that anybody can achieve greatness. But a lot of people think that they need something outside of them. They need a lot of investments. They need a lot of financial backers. They need a lot of contacts. They need like PhD degrees. Whatever their mindset is, they say, "Oh, my success will happen only after I acquire these things." But in our episodes in this podcast, like we talk about, okay, how can you get success without any of these things, and break all those negative beliefs, and just go for what you really want to achieve.
Uh, Before I ask the next question, I'll let our listeners who might not be familiar with Bollywood to because you mentioned, I think you've interviewed Bollywood people involved in Bollywood.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the movie industry in the Indian subcontinent.
Correct. Yeah, it's actually the biggest movie industry in the world, believe it or not, even bigger than Hollywood.
What is it like to be a global thought leader in artificial intelligence, which is still an emerging technology?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny word, a global thought leader. I feel like I have a lot of good experience in artificial intelligence, and I was lucky enough to talk to a lot of other thought leaders. Just like I mentioned, some Fortune 500 executives and director of CIA. When you talk to these people, you get a lot of insights. You get a lot of new ways of thinking about the world. And just being in their presence, I feel like being in presence of other people, you become a thought leader. It's like, I think thought leadership is like a contagious disease. So if you stand next to a credible person, a thought leader, you become a thought leader. In my opinion, that's exactly what happened with me. I was lucky enough, but it doesn't mean that this is outside of reach for anybody else. Like anybody else can do this. They need to find really what they are really good at, what they are passionate about, and then yeah, just like hang out with other thought leaders in that industry, and you become one as well.
As there's many of us in the writing community that have concerns, well, not just in the writing community, but uh, in other professions as well, that have concerns about artificial intelligence. Is artificial intelligence going to completely replace humanity and replace every single human worker in every profession? And why or why not?
It's going to be actually the complete opposite. Like everybody will get an opportunity to really do what they feel like doing. So take, for example, writers, right? So as people may know, written language was invented about 7,000 years ago. Okay, but humans, Homo sapiens, have been on this planet for at least 200,000 years. So before the invention of writing, we were just passing on knowledge through storytelling and verbal word. But then after writing, we started collecting different type of pigments and skins, animal skin or leaves or cloth where we used to write. And then fast forward, we invented paper. And then fast forward, we invented the printing press. So technology is a tool that enables you to write your thoughts on a medium and share it with the world. And after the invention of paper or printing press, for the longest time people used to write books. But then when computers came, people started using word processors, Word or Google Docs. So when I ask writers, hey, why do you use your computer? They say, oh, it's going to be like, more difficult and lengthy process to write it on paper. That's why I use electronic tools. It's very similar now with AI, is that you will be able to express your emotions faster because now you have like a writing buddy. But that doesn't mean that writers are going to go out of fashion. In fact, people who can use these tools to create more emotionally captivating pieces of work, they will become more and more in demand because they will be able to produce more captivating works, more engaging works, and there will be others who will be using AI to just like spew out content that is generic, that doesn't capture the audience. And we have that same dynamic even today. There are 95, any field you take, any business field, any writing, creative field, anywhere you go, 95% of the people are at the bottom. They don't make a lot of money because they use mediocre ways to make money. But 5 to 10% of the people, they are really, really passionate about their art. So even if they use any tools or technology, they want to maintain the human creativity in their art, and those are the people who make money. AI will just enhance the ability for everyone to create that more. So the 95% will be creating more, but by definition, they will be creating more mediocre stuff. And the 5 to 10% will be creating more, but they will be creating more high end stuff. Make sense?
What was it like for your work to be acknowledged by people as famous as Barack Obama, the former US president, and Bill Gates, the Microsoft co founder?
Yeah, I mean that was a total surprise. Honestly, like as I said, I my passion is to help people using technology. So we worked on a project that helps university students finish their degree programs because the statistics are that about 30%. So yeah, 30% of the the university students, whether that's community college or university or what have you, 30% of them drop out in the first 2 years, and that creates a loss of about $400 billion every year in US economy. Okay. So we used AI to help these students rather than dropping out, finish their degree programs. So that was a satisfying experience in itself, but it had such a big impact on students that Bill Gates actually invested in that project, and then President Obama mentioned that project several times in his speeches, in various venues. So it was a just a surreal experience to make something so impactful and get recognized by such people.
I have one final question for this interview, and I'm asking this because I'm a neurodivergent myself. What is the role of neurodiversity in your success?
In my opinion, we all have very, very different points of view, different upbringing, different life experiences. And the picture is never clear if you look at a situation from one angle, one point of view. So neurodivergence, I believe, is a very, very strong and valuable instinct or traits that we need to include people in from all walks of life into a conversation. So let's say we are trying to solve big problems like climate change or cure for cancer or what have you, right? I believe the more different perspectives we can get, the better the solution is going to be. And so talking to people from different backgrounds, talking to people who are even in some cases who are on the spectrum, neurodivergent. In neurodivergence means so many different things, but including every different perspective in the conversation, I believe has been really, really helpful for me to like really gain understanding of every situation from multiple points of view.
Manuj, thank you for appearing on the Apollo Papyrus podcast. You were an amazing guest.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll include a link to Manuj's podcast in the text description of this episode. This is Aaron Apollo Camp reminding y'all to find your writing and reading purpose. Bye for now. Copyright Aaron Apollo Camp, all rights reserved. This podcast episode is intended for the private listening of our audience. Any reuse or retransmission of this episode without the express written consent of the podcast host is prohibited, except under fair use guidelines. Royalty-free music and sound effects obtained from https://www.zapsplat.com.